Welcome back, beautiful people. I'm Braden. This guy right over here is Tim, and this is the Second Legacy. And thank you for stopping by. You have found through illicit means or just natural observation the Second Legacy, where we talk about all the goings on of the 2A today. We add a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of love to bring you with a smile to go about your 2A day. And that is what we're going to do today. Because, Tim, it turns out that woke people are more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed. A new study suggests. I'm
I
sure
did
you're
my own
shocked.
study years ago and found the same thing to be true, so they're a little late. Yeah.
Really? Oh man, you always have been out in front of things. It always does impress me how you do that. Well, that's what we're going to get into today. There's a lot of stuff that I think is going to blow your mind or confirm your original observations. Everything that we do is going to be linked in the description box. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And we're going to say a quick word from our sponsor and then come back right to this for that goodness. There's a new company that I've come across, and they want you to know about it. But I'll be honest with you, man, this intrigues me. All right. This is called Ammo Squared. Okay. So listen to the overall idea and just give me your initial gut on this. So, what they do is they've taken the elements of investing and of 401ks and they've partnered with ammo storage and they've made it into one individual solution. Now, does that intrigue you at a high level or am I crazy?
Well, no, actually, it seems really interesting to me. I've told people before to invest in ammunition because
Right.
it seems like the cost of ammo is constantly going up, and people always need ammunition. It would be
Right.
pretty neat to be able to tuck some away as an investment.
So,
That's pretty cool.
Exactly. That's exactly how they're doing it. So let me just walk you through how this works. So this company, Ammo Square, they're family owned and they're operated and they've been in business for like 8 years. What effectively they do is you put your investment capital into an account, and whenever you want to cash it out, magic, everything that you've been storing up for X amount of time and whatever differentiation that you want shows up. So instead of being at the mercy of the fluctuating market prices and the lack of availability, you've been doing it over time and then you get what you need, but you're taking advantage of time and not the variable fluctuations in the market and availability. It's actually really clever.
Yeah, that's a neat concept. I find that to be truly fascinating.
I love talking about companies that intrigue me, but this one has no minimums to buy. They have no memberships needed, no extra fees, and they can literally do whatever they want on whatever budget they want. It is essentially, I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Is it's actually an investment on your freedom seeds. I mean, like that's that. There's no better way to say it.
Exactly.
Right?
That's how I would say it. It certainly seems like an interesting service. I would definitely encourage people to check that one out.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, it's called Ammo Square, but we just ran across it. They threw it our way, and I was genuinely intrigued. So I hope you guys enjoy looking at that. All right, Tim. Listen, you alluded to in the intro that you did your own study. Do you have any parameters for that study? Is there any kind of published data research?
No. I never wrote that that paper. So I just kind of took mental notes. You know, actually, most of my life, I've noticed that people on the far left are just generally miserable. You can see that in their face and in the way they dress, the way they hold themselves, the way they're always angry about something. It's just it's pretty self-evident. But hey, I'm glad we got a formal study now.
We do. It's a formal study. It's a big deal. I'm really kind of disappointed you didn't publish your findings though. But I'm going to have to go to a more responsible study publisher person or researcher.
Or somebody with a doctorate in something or other.
This is coming. Something or other. They've got to be good, right? They don't have all the emoticons and the virtue signal pens and stuff, but they do have some PhDs. So this is coming out of Finland, Tim. And I found this fascinating because Finland is the place that the left will tell us it's the model for everything health related, right? It's a centralized, socialized healthcare system. Everything's great. What could be wrong? Until they put stuff out like this. So this is published on March 17th, 2024. This is not an old study. This is brand new, Tim. Let me walk you through a few of the details of what's going down in Finland and see if we can cross-correlate anything. So this is number 2. Psychological researchers in Finland have created an assessment to help measure an individual's commitment to principles of social justice and made some surprising findings across the Finnish population, including a negative correlation between progressive ideals and the levels of happiness.
Shocking.
I'm perplexed. Let's go on. Their findings, published in the Scandinavian Journal of Psychology, suggest other Western nations may see similar patterns among their socially conscious citizens. I can save them some time. Yep.
We noted this a while ago, folks.
100%.
I mean, look, all you have to do is get on X and read the posts between right-leaning people and left-leaning people. The left-leaning people are always outraged by something. They're unhappy people.
Oh, it's
right. And if it's not something that directly affects them, they're worried about things that they perceive as being problems for people that they're not even associated with, different racial groups, ethnic groups, social groups. So, for example,
gun violence, climate change.
These far left white soccer moms sitting around going, we need to get the names like Chiefs off, football teams and things like that because it's offensive to Native Americans. And the Native Americans are going like, we think it's kind of cool.
They're wearing the Chiefs logo on them.
We need to stop naming our military aircraft after all these Indian tribes. It's offensive to me being a white leftist woman in some Democrat run city. But then once again, the Native Americans are left like, I think the Apache helicopter is pretty cool. So yeah,
pretty bad.
It's like they keep doing this stuff. So they are miserable people. They're always angry. They're always upset. They're always looking for the next injustice, the next outrage. And
correct.
How do you maintain stable, positive mental health when that's your outlook on life? Every single day, you're waiting to be offended, looking for things to be upset about, and then railing against whatever it is that day, whatever the thing is that day that you're upset about.
Well, it's a conscious and constant virtue signal. Now, there are tie-ins to the 2A here because the people who actually espouse these principles are directly the 2A Shannon Watts mom debate. Like the high hierarchy, the higher tier hierarchy. There it is of moms demand action every time for gun safety. They are fully bought into the progressive ideals. Like these people just say there's a direct correlation. But let me keep going because this is interesting stuff. This debate, Tim, this is number 3, was largely data free, and it could be thus considered a worthwhile question to study how prevalent these attitudes are. No reliable and valid instrument existed prior to the study to assess the extent and prevalence of these attitudes in different populations, so I made one. This is what they talked about: progressive woke ideology, okay? Their research trajectory included extensive reading on intersectional feminism, critical race theory, queer theory, and other relevant academic disciplines that inform critical social justice. That checks them off.
They pretty much hit them all. Or you can just go back to what I said. Just they're always looking for something to be outraged about.
Well, no, they are. But
no, that's fine.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do it. Quit drinking your coffee. What is wrong with you?
Statement.
You think that you just pass the ball to me and take a sip of coffee? Come on.
Yes. Dance. Good Lord. I need my sustenance. Man.
It
hard
is.
room.
Tough
hard
audience.
room in here in the internet. Good Lord. I got to be on my game. So, yes, something that you just said before you chastised me for enjoying my coffee. Thanks for that. There's a study that just came out. Not a study. I'm sorry. We covered it. The article that we were talking about with the outrage machine, how it was exhausted. You know how from the New York Times where they were saying that the left is completely just crisised out and they're just out of energy. Well, this stacks directly in that. I mean, guys, are you seeing the trend of things that we're covering? On one moment, you've got the left that is just completely crisised out. They don't got any more energy and they just don't want to have an existential crisis. And then you get a woke research study that says they're all kind of like crisised out around these types of things, and it doesn't really bode well if you're woke or progressive.
No.
Are you catching a theme?
Yeah, leftists are nut jobs, and they're unhappy because they are not right in the head. They have some sort of a chemical imbalance or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Who knows?
Wow. That was subtle. That was subtle. We went from they're really crisised out to they're nut jobs. Wow, that was very 80s.
Very Gen X,
was very 80s, Tim.
We're going to tell you the way we think. We don't play this politically correct game that the far left has foisted upon the American population. No, the Gen Xers, the reason they hate us, and the boomers before us is because we'll just tell you what we think.
Yeah, and us millennials are just sitting here watching the world burn. Good Lord. Oh, God in heaven. That was a fun one. I don't remember what we were saying. I just completely got distracted by the Gen X. They're nuts. Oh, yes, I remember. So it's not all Democrats, by the way. Look, we always say this sometimes when we get on our little rants. It's not Democrats, everyday, normal American citizens. It's the leftists and the ivory towers who think they are elitist who run the Democratic Party.
That's why I call it leftism and leftists, because there are Democrats, not many left these days, but there are moderate Democrats like the Joe Liebermans of the world, rest in peace, Joe. The Mansions and stuff like that aren't the full on crazy far left lunatics, right? But they're becoming fewer and fewer. They're aging out and they're being replaced by Gen Z far left lunatics. So
the T-8000s.
The Davy Hogg, leaders we don't really deserve, but you're getting them anyway. It's like,
but you're getting them anyway. Yeah. Yeah. And there's an argument to be made, by the way, that the lack of approaching the topics that they go after in an effective manner actually does give us the way to say we deserve it because we didn't defeat them early enough. But anyway, don't worry. The millennials are here while you Gen Zers are out there just, doing whatever you were doing. We got you. You let this happen.
Well, I mean, I know this is totally unrelated to the story, but I was reading an article that Sean Ryan posted on X this morning about how the military is now actually looking to force retirees up to the age of 70 back into military service because of the incredible loss of manpower that they're experiencing due to their woke ideologies that they're now pushing upon the military industrial complex.
Isn't that weird?
So they're just
odd. You'd think the people that you really want to, get out there and bite nails and hack a saw through the entire desert and then unload all of it. You'd figure you'd want to kind of endorse that for warriors, not
what they're.
Did you?
What they're saying is the Gen X and Boomers, the people that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s now, they were better war fighters than the current crop. So we're just going to go back in time and bring them out of retirement. Even at 70 years old, we'd rather have them than these woke lunatics that are joining the military, not to fight wars, but to get free education and reassignment surgery or whatever else the government's willing to pay for.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Anyway.
So messed up. But Tim, this might find to be shocking.
Shock me.
Finding shocking right here. Right, this is shocking. So this is number 4. The gender divide was probably the most surprising to me. 3 out of 5 women view woke ideas positively, but only 1 out of 7 men.
Not touching that.
Is that shocking? No, you're not touching. I'm so proud of you for not touching that.
Well, so not because I'm worried about the backlash in the comments. I'm afraid my wife will watch the video. It's like,
there you go. No, we're good. No, we're good. We're good. This is the part where you stop talking because once that thing opens, you just go. So here's the rest of these. This was especially true of women in fields such as social sciences, education, and humanities. And by contrast, participants who worked in STEM were more likely to critique social justice efforts associated with being woke. So if you were in fields like manufacturing or environmental engineering or, high level stuff that requires a lack of emotion and objective nature, they were like, nah, social woke stuff, not cool. But if you were in social sciences, which is like intersectional feminism, queer theory, stuff like that, education and humanities, you were down with
of course.
Woke. Are you shocked by that?
Underwater basket weaving is what we used to call it. I got a degree in underwater basket weaving, just totally useless degrees. And they go out there and try to find employment in the workforce. They can't find any. So then a bunch of leftists get control of these corporations. They create far left lunatic job titles for them, like DEI supervisor or whatever they want to call it. And then they throw them in there. And then they realize they're bankrupting the company. They get rid of the entire department and fire everybody.
I cannot believe you just said it on the internet. We're done. We're done, Tim. Do you know did you even realize?
Did I do something really bad? Did my Gen X mouth get me in trouble again?
Did you not? It did. It did. Did you not see what the mayor of Baltimore said about the word DEI?
What does it mean
now? And you just said it on the internet. It is the new N-word.
Oh,
said it.
Well, I didn't know. I can't keep up with this stuff. It changes by the day.
I know. It's highly offensive.
Well,
highly.
I just want to let you know that I offended myself.
I need you to check yourself.
And I will self-flog later for that. I will be punished. I promise you.
I want you to self-flog, and I don't want to think about you self-flogging anything. But you are going to need to do.
Okay.
19 Hail Bidens. 19 Hail Bidens.
No more talking about
so do that. We'll be good.
Let's move on.
Flogging. No, don't flog anything. So moving right. God, this episode went off the rails fast. So the payoff. This is the big payoff. This is where it comes to fruition. This is number 5. See what I did there? However, the most concerning finding was the relationship between mental health and the agreement with the scale, talking about if you were woke or not. Specifically, researchers found a high prevalence of anxiety and depression in people who believe the statement, if white people have on average a higher income than black people, it is because of racism. More broadly, they found that those who identified as left-wing were most likely to report lower mental well-being.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Yep. Well, I know they're miserable. I've been around them my entire life, and they're a bunch of miserable people. It's like, I don't care what your politics are. I can hang out with anybody, but if you're just miserable and all you do is trash talk everybody around you, that's not fun for me. I'll find somebody else to hang out with. And I used to work in a far left field in a far left city, and I didn't really have much association with my coworkers because they were miserable people. They try to tell everybody they're all happy, joy, love for everybody, but then they go into rants where they're just ripping on everybody around them. It's just...
Yeah, but you know the interesting thing about it is, in this I think what it really boils down to, as we're wrapping this, the rants of where the displeasure come from. If you listen to them, it's the common thread is always something bigger than themselves that they can't directly affect, and something that is disproportionately affecting them in their perception. So, for example, the country is racist, or the system is racist, or the system is favoring the rich guy, or it's against me because XYZ. And it's always something bigger and broader than themselves that they have no direct impact over. For example, if it were about, I just can't get a promotion, well, then if you can't get a promotion, you would have to do some sort of self-reflection. Say, maybe it's my performance, maybe it's my attitude, maybe it's my time, maybe it's my XYZ. But they don't do that because that is painful, and that revolves around introspection. It's much easier to blame the system because then you don't have to change and do anything uncomfortable. You can just say, well, the system is mean and therefore I'm fine. I'm perfect, but the system is wrong. And that's why I'm not going anywhere. And that's kind of the theme that I picked up.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. I think it could be distilled down to this. They just want to blame everybody else for the problems they perceive, either, real or imagined. And I would say most of the problems they come up with are imagined, but, that goes back into the whole mental health thing.
That was so Gen Z, yeah. Tim. That was so Gen Z. Man.
Anyway.
Well.
Now that... Yeah,
guess we should wrap
put a bow on this one, folks. If you don't see us here tomorrow, it's because my Gen X mouth got us into trouble and got the channel yanked. So anyway, let us know what you think down below. Thank you for watching Second Legacy. We'll talk to you guys soon.